Hi everyone, welcome. Thank you for joining us tonight. You are here at Chii for All, and this is the platform for working artists to help us grow our unique creative voices and get to showcase our artwork to the world. So thank you for being here. I am your host, Reneé, aka Chii. And these are all of our lovely artists, well, almost all of them. Say hello, guys. We are missing one person because our plans for this show kind of changed last minute. But she is gonna make a little appearance in here too. And all of us are also kind of trying to stay on YouTube while this is airing. So if you guys have questions for us, fire away. So this is our very first Inktober show, and we did a challenge that is themed Inklings 31 Days of Fables and Fairy Tales. So you're going to see a lot of very whimsical, very fantasy artwork today. So we're doing something a little bit different. If you've seen our shows before, you can probably tell we usually don't start with something that is live. We have two videos, but we've kind of tried to integrate it into one to give you guys a better experience overall, and I hope that you enjoy it. So please, while you're here, please ask some questions. And if you are new here, or if you haven't subscribed, it would be awesome if you subscribe if you like our work and want to see more. And we would really appreciate it if you liked our video as well. In the description below is all of the artists' information as far as like their Instagram accounts, to be able to check them out and see all of their work. And then we will have everyone's work in our Instagram gallery at Chii for All on Instagram shortly after the show. And I think that is it. So we're gonna turn it over to Natalie first, who's gonna be talking about her work for this show. So Natalie, it's all you.
Sweet. Well, my name is Natalie. I'm from Indiana, and I'm so excited to show you my project. Before it jumps into Tilly's fairy tales, as you kind of get to flip through my book, we do have a couple like generic questions of like, what's my favorite fairy tale? And that would be Beauty and the Beast. I've loved that one since I'm a kid. I've always loved Belle and her blue dress, reading, imagining all kinds of different worlds that you could go to and travel. And I guess maybe in some small instance, maybe that was a little bit of inspiration to this book. But Tilly's fairy tales. So when we were given this prompt of fairy tales as the theme for our Chii-tober, I didn't know what I was going to do, but I always love throwing in something a little unexpected, something playful, something that will always make you laugh. This seems to be a little bit of a trend of my project. And so I thought tales has two meanings. So one, it could be about stories, but then it also could be like a literal animal tale. So my love of animals, being able to put a little clever spin on fairy tales, drew this new project incorporating Tilly. So this is Tilly. She's a little fox who at the beginning of this project ended up losing her tail. And so she's going through all of these different fairy tales until we get to the very end and she discovers her tail. So here's a little summary of all of Tilly's adventures through these 31 days of trying to find the tail and seeing her different expressions of how she's feeling and how she's coping not having her tail or getting the wrong tail or enjoying this new adventurous tail, depending on which one she gets for that day. So it was a really fun project to kind of experiment with my own illustrations, trying to figure out a character because that was kind of new, and doing facial expressions for her and her stances, trying to imagine what her tale would turn into based off of the different prompts that we received. So there was a lot of challenges for this project, but in the end, I can't help but laugh seeing all of Tilly's different tales that she got, and seeing the whole entire collection come together is really satisfying, and I love this little project. She's just too cute.
Nice, Natalie. I love
Thank you.
I think everyone wants Natalie to illustrate a kid's book, so. No, we love Tilly. We love Tilly very much. I can't decide which Tilly is my favorite, actually. I thought about this a lot yesterday. I do love her, like her sparkle fairy tale. That might be one of my favorites.
Oh, the Under the Spell one? The one that.
Oh, yes. That one. She's so cute.
She was very excited when I was drawing her up. She was like swishing it around, trying to play with this new tale of hers.
I did the same thing if I were in her shoes.
So do you have a favorite, Natalie?
I have a couple different favorites for a couple different reasons, but I would probably say one of my top ones is Pixie Dust, which is the second one on the bottom row from the right, when she's like flipping upside down and pixie dust is coming out. But she just looks like, whoa, like what's going on here? And when I drew her, I was getting so excited, and just seeing it come together piece by piece was so much fun. And so that one would probably be my favorite, but there's a lot of different ones that I like for different reasons. So
Nice.
Yeah, one thing I noticed was the expressions you were able to bring to Tilly, and they make like the whole thing. How difficult was that for you?
Well, thank you.
I mean, like you got it.
It was
amazing.
That was probably like my hardest challenge, because in my series of, if you've seen past shows and you've seen work on my Instagram, which please follow, I will drop that at the end. But I don't like drawing people at all. Like I will avoid it like the plague, because I think it's one thing that you see people every single day, so you can easily see mistakes or errors, and I'm very much so like a perfectionist when it comes to that mind. And my mindset is, if I draw expressions and characters on an animal, it will work, because you can change it and you can make it a little bit more fun. You can make it a little bit more kid friendly. So it's easier to hide mistakes, and it's easier to exemplify their expressions. And so it's easier for me when I do it on an animal. But when it came to Tilly, it was actually pretty hard. And I found myself often making the faces of like, okay, so why is this Little Red Riding Hood tail now a basket? And like, how would I express that? And I would notice myself making these expressions. Or if I'm being picked up by fairy wings, like just thinking of how that expression would feel if that was happening to me, and then looking in a mirror, jotting them down, sketching it out. It was a process, seeing examples, doing a lot of reference images. That really helped a lot. But thank you. I'm happy that you like her expressions, because it was a challenge.
Oh, that's so hard, is getting that like personality in the character, and you nailed it. And in the chat, yeah, we all want a book.
Well, if you can cross your fingers. My mom, shout out to my mother if she's watching, Doreen. Thank you. She is a librarian. And she was really jealous when she saw my idea and was like, this is such a good idea. And she's always wanted to write a book. So she's like, would you want to like collaborate, and I'll write and then you can do the illustrations? So we're going to try it. So we'll see if we can make that a reality and turn Tilly into an actual book together, which I think would be a really fun project to do. as a side thing. So if anyone knows anybody who publishes books or has any leads, please drop them in the comments or shoot me a message. But either way, I think it would be really fun to do that project with my mom and see more of Tilly come to life and see it in an actual book. I think that'd be so cool. Oh man, Megan.
Megan.
I love how these questions like pop up on the screen. Were there any that were more challenging than others? Yes, there were. There were actually, because there's 6 of us in the show, and actually I think a few more we ended up changing as well. There were a few prompts that we put a little spin on them. And so one of them, which is the image with Tilly looking in this portal with the trees, it's supposed to be Enchanted Forest entrance. Thanks, Brad, for the extra challenge there. Like, I was already struggling with Enchanted Forest, but then you had to put Enchanted Forest entrance as your spin, and I was stumped for weeks. Like, I did not know how I was going to draw this one at all. So the ones that people like put a little bit of a spin on were a little more challenging, and I would say the other ones that were a little bit what I would deem as broader, like there was one that was Alice. Alice doesn't have a tail. So how could I find something in her storyline that would still interpret Alice as the topic? So that one was really challenging, but then I ended up finding out that Alice drinks that potion that makes her really big or really small. And so Tilly, if she drank the potion, obviously her tail would become super teeny tiny, and then she's just annoyed. So that one's in the 3rd row, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 from the left. So that one was really fun. But it was hard. There were definitely some that were harder than others, but you just kind of work through them and keep digging and then ask your friends for help. Thank you, Peyton, if you're watching, because she was definitely helpful too, trying to come up with some of these topics.
Have you ever done this many drawings in such a short period of time before? Like illustration work?
Illustration work, no. I would say no. I've done other challenges before, which is one reason why I was so excited that we were doing Inktober, is because I've done challenges like this. I did a logo challenge. I did some other kinds of competitions and stuff like that. And I always find it so rewarding when you're done, because you have such a large body of work and you can see your progression and how much you've improved and how much your styling and details have shifted. And it's such a good accomplishment and you feel so good afterwards that I was so excited. So this many illustrations, no, I've never done before, but I'm so proud to say that I was able to do this in our short amount of time. Very, very happy with it.
And one thing too I want to highlight is just the consistency of the work that you've done too, because like there isn't one that like sticks out, like it's wasn't touched on as much as the others. Like it has a continuous beautiful feel, and it makes you want to stick with Tilly all the way throughout her journey, and I love that. And it shows, you know, how much work you put into it too, Natalie.
Thank you guys so much. We love Tilly.
Yeah, these are really great. I mean, honestly, I don't think you have to do much to make a book. You can honestly just put it back to this and call it a day. I'd buy it. It looks great.
Yeah.
It's literally like add type.
Yeah. Just add a title to each of them and you're fine. I mean,
they're perfect. Yeah.
Yeah, if you guys didn't see, she's got like a book cover right here, so it's already almost there.
Well, I like made them all, and then I was like, something's not done, and it's an odd number, and it was bothering me that I didn't have another spot, so it just made the most sense to make a little book cover for this little series. So we have Tilly's fairy tales as she's trying to get her actual tail.
I love it. Okay, so Natalie, you've been doing all of these animal characters. I have to ask you if you're going to do a platypus.
I knew you were going to ask that.
I know.
I for sure want to. I've always wanted to draw a platypus. And I have tried, and I just like have not hit the mark. And I don't know if it's because it's like my absolute favorite animal in the entire world, so I just have like super high expectations, or if I'm just not in the right mindset yet to like draw her. But I'm sure you will see a platypus sometime in our future. But right now, we'll just deal with Tilly.
I love it. I think the last one is my favorite. I loved that one when I saw it initially, but I also really love the pixie dust one too. Is it pixie dust?
Yep, that
Maybe
one
I'm
right
thinking.
beside her is the pixie dust.
Oh no, the one with the with the little heart coming out underneath the title on the left.
Oh, that one is True Love's Kiss. That
I
was
love
another
that one
that
too.
stumped me. I did not know what I was going to do for that one.
So
Any
cute.
of the ones that I like struggled with, I saved them for the very end because I just couldn't figure it out, and I wasn't gonna like waste time trying to figure it out. So once I saw more of the collection, it slowly would start falling into place. And that one was a big thank you, Peyton, for helping me brainstorm. That one was fun.
Awesome. Amazing work, Natalie.
Thank you.
All right, we'll move on to our next artist. I feel like we're gonna have questions at the end, so we can just go to that when we're ready. Okay. So next is Megan. And she's in the chat actually, but she wasn't available to film, so we get her recorded video.
Hi everyone, my name is Megan Luckett, and I'm from the suburbs of Chicago, about 45 minutes out, but I've lived in the city now for a few years. I'm not there right now, which is why there's trees outside my window, but I do live there. As far as my favorite fairy tale or fable goes, I definitely think my favorite is The Little Mermaid. Not that because I'm in support of giving away your voice for a man, because don't ever do that. But I just really like the concept of mermaids, and I think I've always been drawn to water, so I feel like that's why I really love that fable. And just sirens in general, like when you go into the like twisted version of like mermaids and sirens, it's super interesting to me. I love like the idea of a bunch of pirates like being afraid of some ladies in the water crashing their boat. It's just very interesting to me. I don't know if I would say I relate to that necessarily. I think the most relatable fictional character or fantasy character for me is probably maybe Snow White, just because she likes animals so much. I like animals, and she has a bunch of little friends who clean with her, and I guess I have a bunch of little friends. They don't really clean with me, but the animals, I don't know. Anyways, that would be the one I relate to the most. Anyway, moving on to my project. So for this Chii for All for Inktober, it was a very interesting challenge for me because obviously I didn't draw. I'm not necessarily most comfortable illustrating and doing things with like ink and drawing. Photography definitely is like my strong suit, and I know that, and I wanted to make sure that this project felt attainable to me to do all 31 things, because I knew that I would get mad at myself if I didn't, and I knew that photography was the medium to go for for that, because it would really, I always feel very motivated to take pictures, but it was a really nice thing about this project was it did get me back in the habit of carrying my DSLR with me. I fell away from doing street photography a little bit in my personal life, so it was nice to have this challenge that caused me to really have to break my camera out, carry it around with me, and start capturing things around me again, because that's what I love with photography. So it was really great for that. It definitely was a bit of a challenge, though. I was interested when I saw the prompt list, because I wouldn't say that fairy tales are something that like tend to inspire my work at all. I tend to do very slice of life, almost like reflections of the world around me type photography. So it was definitely very difficult for me I had to sit down a few times and look at that prompt list and really think of like how I could apply the prompt, and think about maybe like even sometimes it got as specific as just like the overall theme of the character or of the film that the character is a part of, or the concept, and how to capture that emotion in a photo that maybe isn't as literal as a connection. Some of them are pretty literal, but some of them I had to really kind of dive into the metaphor and go from there, which was a super interesting challenge for me. I think that it helped kind of build more concept behind my work, and I think that in turn created like a better, well-rounded, actual like full project and series, which is really exciting for me because I don't tend to do something with this many pieces in it. When I take photos, I honestly kind of feel like my photography portfolio is almost like a running list, like I'm always adding to it, but it's not very often that I'm aiming to have pieces connect in one collection, at least this many pieces, especially this many pieces from different like shoots in different days, because some of this is me walking around in Chicago, some of this is from a trip I took with my sister to Portland. So it was interesting to kind of try and tie everything together. And I do think I'm proud of how like the theme kind of caused everything to go together. Even though I have some black and white, I have some in full color. That was actually something that I grappled with a lot for this project. I was like, I don't know, do I go full? I tend to lean towards black and white for street photography, but it felt like some of these really needed their color. So I ended up actually only selecting black and white for a handful of them, which was a surprise to me because like I said, I really do lean towards that. But it was very interesting. I really liked how the final collection came together. There were some sacrifices for sure that had to be made. There were some concepts that like were in my head that I didn't end up making happen just due to time purely. Like for the Huntsman, for example, I like really wanted to, I live in Wrigleyville, and I really wanted to like go to like a bar and take a picture like inside of like a guy on the prowl, like looking around, you know what I mean? Or like something like that. And there was a couple concepts like that I was a little ambitious with, and I either was like too embarrassed to go and actually do it, or I couldn't find the thing because I was doing street photography. I didn't want anything to be posed. So like the 3 little pigs or Hansel and Gretel, for example, I was like, oh, I'll find 3 kids, or I'll find 2 kids together holding hands. And that didn't always happen. So some instances I did manage to find the thing I was looking for, like the woman in the red coat for Little Red Riding Hood, even though her hood is not red, but her jacket is, so it's fine. There were happy accidents like that, or like Rapunzel, where the dog was like happened to be in the window of a high apartment building. But there were definitely also some happy accidents that I kind of was hoping for and didn't find. So that was, I guess, where I didn't necessarily get all of the ideas that I wanted out there on the table. But I am still proud of how these ended up being. And it was really a fun process, like I said, to brainstorm and actually come up with a solution. And sometimes a little bit more of a roundabout solution, because it couldn't be as literal as maybe it would have been if I had done illustrations. Or if I had done a style of photography that allowed me to like really pose and set up and use models and stuff like that. But that's not necessarily my style. I wanted to go with street photography because that felt most doable and most me. So I'm happy that I did. And yeah, so thank you guys so much for checking out my work. That was that. Let me know if you have questions in the comments, and I'll answer there. Thank you.
Nice. Thanks, Megan. That was so fun.
Megan, these are like awesome. And like watching it again, like because we like previewed last night as like a group, but we watched it again today, and I like picked up even more. Like I just love going through these. They're so much fun to just see everything come together as a collection. You're so talented, Megan. It's awesome. Great job.
I know.
Yeah, we couldn't wait to see how you interpreted all the prompts with photography. And I was floored. It's amazing. Sorry, Sarah, go on.
No, you're okay. I just, like Natalie said, we did get like a little sneak peek of these, and my jaw just dropped, just because the way that Megan interpreted this, like these prompts, is just not how I would go about it, because I like to like illustrate and I'm very literal, and just like you have to think a little bit harder just to like kind of get it across, but that doesn't mean it's not on the point either. It's just, it makes you appreciate it very much more, I think. I remember like the first one that made me like just my jaw drop was the Sword in the Stone one, was just because I was like, oh, you know, I could write like an essay about this, or the one with the Lost, I think it was the Lost Boy, no, Tea Party, is like the beer can on the bus, and I just was like, oh. You know, you just think very analytically, and it's just so smart, and I love it. I love it very much.
Yeah, I totally agree. I feel like my favorite thing is that there's like this emotional connection, and even if I don't know like exactly what the theme is, I can totally, like, I can feel it before I hear what that prompt actually was. Yeah, I can't even pick a favorite. I just love these. I feel like you can tell when someone is a talented photographer by the emotion that they can capture in their work, and it's awesome. Megan, you did a great job.
Yeah, Maggie. Yeah, the interpretation, like whether you get it or not right away, once you see that prompt, I mean, very cool.
And I also love that Huckleberry's in there. He had to be.
Gotta have Huck.
All right, cool. I forgot to say on the last one, Natalie's, but I will list after this. So, if anyone wants to check out Megan's work, she is at, now I have to find her. She's at _Megan Luckett on Instagram. If you want to check out more of her awesome work, or if you are interested in buying any of her artwork, you can go chat with her there. And for Natalie, who I'm so sorry I missed, Natalie is at Natalie Neumann _design on Instagram if you want to check out any more of the adorable Tilly illustrations, her cute little fox, or if you are interested in seeing any of her other work, she's got a lot of other stuff on there too. Okay, moving next, Meg, you are up.
Hello, I'm Meg. Grew up in Chicago, still around the area. Fairy tale characters. I most think that I feel like the White Rabbit a lot of the time. Like, I'm kind of rushing and scattered and a lunatic. But we always, got there in the end. My favorite stories that I remember growing up were Red Riding Hood, Jack and the Beanstalk. They stand out for me. For this challenge, my main focus was to do something like fun and relatable. I wanted to choose an object that felt kind of fall-like and also fairy tale-like. So I have all these beautiful glass pumpkins and ceramic pumpkins from artisans. So that was my little muse this time. I always have one. And then I wanted to be able to transform it to each prompt. So a lot of the time I had in my head how I could visualize a lot of the prompts. So Once Upon a Time Forgotten, I drew it all out and then erased it and then darkened it and then manipulated it per each prompt that I went toward. questions.
I love this one. So cute. Okay, we have lots of questions, so we're back. Meg, do you have a favorite?
I kind of think my favorite ended up being the magic mirror. How I ended up with that.
That was my favorite.
Meg, you gotta share how you did that because
Yeah.
it is so
So
cool.
I struggled with that one, kept resketching it, and then I really wanted it to feel like it was like broken and more dimensional. So I ended up making two, colored them, painted them, and then I cut one up into pieces. So it was literally like another layer of the object on top of it and shaded around like the cut pieces of paper. That might be my favorite.
I thought that was like so clever, like how you ended up achieving that. Because I know you struggled with that one because you're like, I don't know how I'm gonna do it. But thinking of how to use multiple materials and multiple sheets of paper to accomplish that breaking motion, I thought was genius. Like that was so well achieved.
Thank you.
Did you do anything like that with any of the other ones? Like that kind of layering or any
No.
other special techniques?
No, that was the one. Like, I was like drawing a mirror and breaking it and blah, 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 blah. And I'm like, no, I wanted the main like little gourd that I was transforming for everything else. I'm like, no, I want that to be the thing that's shattered. So
I love that. That's such a, like, you're actually...
light bulb.
It's just like how when we kind of make those expressions, when we're trying to make an expression on a character, it's like kind of reenacting that shattering of the glass. It's really cool. So fun. I love this one too, actually, this last one with the book. I wouldn't have thought of doing it that way, but I like that it's kind of like everything all in one. Kind of wraps it together.
It feels like an old fairy tale book, kind of in a movie or something.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think when I figured out my starting point, where it was like the book was open and you're entering into this whole series, I knew what I wanted to do for the end was like that closed book, try and do like that ornate gold feeling cover and
I want Meg to do a glass blowing class so I can have these and hold them and decorate my house in October. Just because she brings back all my favorite October feels with these guys. I love anything fairy tale and I love pumpkins and I love them all. I love how soft they feel as well. They just feel just sort of like whimsical and gorgeous, and I want to touch them. I want to have a glass in my hands of these pumpkins.
I tried to make them soft, but some of that could be like bad retouching.
Shh, no. That's your talent. You're amazing. I love them.
I literally love your Hunger Beast one, like how you achieve the glass over the red and green pumpkin. Like I totally got rose. I totally got theme. I was like, genius. Like I need that on my wall. Like it's so good.
Another small thing, the shoe and the Prince Charming Too Little Too Late. I don't know about everybody else, but I cannot draw feet and I cannot draw shoes as like attached to that, and being able to draw a very successful shoe that's glass. You did a good job, Meg. Feet are hard. Shoes are hard. It's hard to draw.
What was your hardest drawing? Like which one did you struggle with the most? Not including the shattered mirror because that's on a different level, but like out of the prompts in general.
Honestly, that shoe was hard.
You can't tell.
It was.
No, you totally cannot tell.
And I really feel like that one has a lot of emotion. I know I told you, but it's like, it looks like it's a character really like very sadly holding this shoe. It has regret, this pumpkin.
I'm glad that came across because I was really like trying to emote that, you know, like just this brown, sad, thorny vine, and the shoe is like, sorry you didn't make it, Prince. Story of my life.
No.
Kidding.
But I know that last year you did Inktober and it was a Foodtober. And so this year it was fairy tales. So did you like doing this challenge more than doing the food? I noticed that you do a lot of product items as your topics. So choosing the pumpkins, how do you feel after this challenge?
I think it was fun to do that last year. Like, that was the first time I did it. And then after doing like all the shows now, when this was our, you know, topic and prompts this year, I thought this was like really fun, more engaging, and I'd like to finish more than 10.
But this was still, like, this was a lot. I mean,
It was.
you've never done 10, as far as I know. I don't think you've ever done 10 drawing, like
No.
10 to this extent in a month. It's awesome.
No, I love them. I mean, I do want to, like I said, there were so many other prompts that I'm like, oh my God, I know what I would do for this. And I do want to finish that out.
You should be like super proud of all the ones that you accomplished because they're so detailed. You did color. I mean, you added shadows, lighting. You ripped paper up and like made a whole new piece like for your shattered mirror. So like you did so much. Like it is awesome.
I know.
Thank you. I'd like to refine them a little bit more, but you know, it's quick, so.
How did you feel about doing them all in a sketchbook, actually, Meg? Because you did them all like page after page, right? Kind of? So you can have a flip through.
And when it was kind of hard as I started going that way, because you're like crunched into a sketchbook, right? So I love having them that way to keep, but part of it felt challenging to me. Like I didn't have like room. I was like folding the pages back, even shooting them for the video. That was a little janky.
Because I think you're the only one that did, unless Natalie. You didn't. No, you did it digital.
No, I was digital. I did iPad. But it's awesome. I feel like a sketchbook would be hard to do too.
Yeah.
It was hard because it was like little, you know.
It turned out great, Meg. Lisa had a question for you. Was there a face in the shadow? I think it was about this one, but I could be wrong. Was there a face in the shadow for any of them? Is that the shadow anything that you...
The Shadow Realm had a face in it.
Oh, maybe that's what I'm thinking of. Yes.
Oh, yeah.
There's that one. Oh, yes. I do love that one, too. So good, Meg.
Woody's here, Lisa. Yeah, I tried to do like a skull kind of face in that one.
It kind of reminds me actually of the Upside Down Worlds. Or no. How am I saying it right? The one from Stranger Things.
Oh.
The Upside Down?
Yeah, it kind of reminds me of that. The Shadow Realm. Oop.
Yeah.
All right, cool. Thanks, Meg.
Thank you, guys.
Love your work. If you guys love Meg's work too and want to check her out, you can find her on Instagram at Meg Meyers 2020. And yeah, definitely go check out more of her stuff.
Dumbest Instagram name ever.
Oh my gosh. All right. Next up is Brad. Ready for you, Brad.
You guys are gonna die.
No one's gonna die today. But so I'm Brad. My favorite fairy tale, probably have to say Peter Pan. I think I gave the example of just not wanting to grow up yesterday, but I think that still fits. But so I think the most relatable kind of character for me is definitely either Peter Pan or just any of the Lost Boys, just because, you got that kind of live young forever kind of mindset, which I kind of enjoy. And one of the biggest challenges of just this project as a whole was kind of trying to keep my illustration. I've come from an illustrative background. Drawing is kind of one of my go-tos. So it was kind of easy to kind of choose this route, but I wanted to do more of a 2D kind of environment, but it still has perspective and it still kind of has a cinematic kind of narrative style to it, without having just too much emotion and kind of going over the top. And with a lot of it just limiting just how much I would like go into detail in these projects, just switching from one setting to the next. And for the most part, I laid it out as having just one setting and then just having a list of characters as a photograph of what that scene would be set as. And a lot of my influence came from just watching mafia movies, watch Sopranos, Goodfellas, all that kind of stuff. And a lot of the scenes were just kind of them in like just normal environments doing kind of just like mundane kind of human interactions between each other. But like there's so much kind of like cinematic like things going around that you kind of, the way that they set the scenes up and have all the shots are just very like cinematic. And that's kind of what I wanted to come across as. And so a lot of the themes very early on, like 50s, 60s, and then kind of goes to the 80s with the photographs. But a lot of the detail, a lot of just pushing, just kind of getting trying to get that cinematic narrative style to come through with each photograph, which is, I think I did pretty well on it. But yeah. And so basically what you're watching here is just the process of me kind of going through and just building from kind of just ideation to the kind of final product of the photograph. Each character kind of had their own little spin, had their own little like engagement that they had going on in each scene. So whether it's like Hansel and Gretel, and then behind them is supposed to be Maleficent, who's kind of just in shock at the shoes that Gretel has on her feet, and she's kind of showing them off. And with just being there's so many different characters and props for this assignment, it's like there was a point where I was like, I can add some stuff and kind of hold things back, but a lot of it just kind of started off with like maybe 2 or 3 characters, and then just ended up just adding on just multiple others. So in this one, it starts off with 3, but it ends up with like I added a genie and the Cheshire Cat to that, just to kind of add a little more a mashup of the characters. And actually, one of my original ideas for the project was to do like kind of a Smash Bros, like almost Mortal Kombat versus between fairy tales and fables. So it's I drew back that idea just because that seemed a little too violent. A lot of the characters came just kind of just very like grudge and aggressive, and I was like, I don't know if that's the right setting for this, but I like how it came out, and I was proud of it.
Yeah, these turned out awesome, Brad.
Thank you.
Brad, I love seeing your process. I think it is so captivating. I just want to just see you draw all day. Did you have as much fun drawing it as I am watching it?
Yeah, it's fun. You kind of get lost into it just because it's like, I don't know, I love drawing every day. I mean, I try to draw as much as I can. It doesn't, we talked about this yesterday, but it doesn't happen. It's not a realistic thing to say you can draw every day, but a lot of it is just like I'd sit at a computer for 8 hours at a time and draw for like 3-hour splits or something like that and just kind of go in. The editing makes it look a lot better than what it is, just because it's, you get to kind of delete all the little like breaks I took on my phone or just looking away, getting a snack or something like that. But no, yeah, it was really fun. And a lot of my kind of early inspiration for drawing was just watching speed art. So it was kind of cool to see that kind of progression into my own little path. But yeah.
Megan has a question for you. Would you say a lot of your inspiration as an illustrator comes from cinema?
I would say, yeah. Most of my early childhood was watching cartoons, whether it be like early anime or, just Cartoon Network type stuff. And even today, I still watch cartoons, boondocks. I still read comics. I mean, it's definitely a part of kind of what my style is to this day. So, yeah.
One of my favorite things that you touched on earlier was the fact that you said that you drew inspiration from like mobsters and like mob shows. And to me, that kind of helps like tie in the fact that actually a lot of these fairy tales come from really gruesome tales. Like I think in one version of Cinderella, I think she like lets like birds like eat the eyes of her stepsisters and stuff. And it just kind of like helps tie in the fact that like a lot of these stories come from actual human mouths, and like these are people from like hundreds of years ago who made up these stories, and it wasn't like Disney, it was actual people who did probably weird things, and I love that ties that together, and that's really cool because I never made that connection before, but they're actually very similar.
Yeah, one of the things I really enjoy about like mafia movies, it's not trying to get off topic, but it's like some of it seems as like it's almost like fantasy just because it's these guys doing these like crazy crimes, but it's like it's somewhat realistic. Like these guys live normal lives outside of what they do, and it's while their lives are a lot more hectic than the average person, it's still they still have human emotions, still have feelings, and a lot of the directors are really good at just capturing that kind of human emotion and how they interact with each other, which I really draw to within this drawing. So I'm glad you could see that.
I love it, yeah.
I mean, the detail that you get on these is like insane. Like, how much time do you think it took to make these? Because they are complete finished drawings and they're stunning.
I'm not exactly sure if I could like sit down and time it, just because there was so many just like random breaks that I had to go through and like edit out. Sure. I think the longest compilation from like start to finish, because I don't think I showed you from start to finish on most of the projects, but I think it was like the longest one may have been like 19 hours of just straight video. But it was a lot of just like, it'd be like really like maybe 12 hours of actual drawing, and then like the rest is just like kind of crap that I had to edit out. And it was nice just being able to speed everything up to kind of knock out the waste for it. So yeah.
They're so cool, Brad.
Thank you.
They are. I love the forest entrance. I think might be my favorite, even though it's not like the other two. I feel like are more obviously themed to that like extra mafia and bar location that you have, but I really love it. It like kind of feels like an outdoor tavern almost.
Yeah.
And
I wanted to kind of feel like someone's like almost backyard.
Yeah, it does.
Kind of thing, like they might meet up back there for some kind of activity. I don't know what they're doing, but it's it's just a little family gathering spot or whatever.
The first one actually reminds me of that painting, Nighthawk, I think it is, of all the guys in the diner. If anyone knows what I'm talking about, Edward Hopper, I think. That one reminds me of that a lot. I don't know if you tied in any actual paintings from art history at all either, but I definitely feel that there's some aspects in that as well. And combined with the photography idea is just so cool.
Brad, it looks like you got a question too from Tracy. Thanks, Tracy, for asking this question. And it's such a good question to ask. So as someone who doesn't have any idea as to how to use one of these programs, do you use a mouse to draw or a pen to touch screen?
So I have a Keon little drawing tablet that connects to my laptop through a little adapter. It's all just like tablet to little pen stylus thing. I have drawn with a mouse. It's not the best. I mean, you can kind of block in with color, but drawing with the mouse is hell. So, but yeah.
It's only when you're truly desperate do you turn to a mouse.
Yeah, these guys have the equipment to really.
I mean, if you have the money, like on the nice equipment, but
yeah,
I was fortunate enough to my parents helped me out, but yeah.
Did you learn hand drawing first, or did you learn digital drawing first?
I learned hand drawing. I didn't learn digital drawing until my junior year of college. And so I had to pick it up kind of on my own just because the computer illustration class I had it was nice, but it was kind of somewhat remedial, just kind of beginner level. And so I had to do a lot of like just self-teaching. And I wrote a comic book my senior year for my thesis, all on digital. And I actually ended up breaking my board, something I just was using it too much. But and it worked out though. So I ended up finishing on time and everything was nice. But I've definitely had a lot more practice in the past couple of years just doing digital drawing. So from my early work and just doing random stuff for I think I did a book for a final too, and it was really fast. But from that to this, it's a big difference, at least in my eyes. I don't know if who's ever seen my work can agree with that, but I see it.
No, if you see it, I feel like that's when it's valid. Because usually if you can see your growth in something, it's definitely there. So that's exciting. They look awesome to me. I haven't seen all of your older work, I'm sure, but yeah, these look great. And just the interaction of the characters and everything are awesome.
Thank you.
And nobody else thought of doing it this way. Nobody else even considered putting them all into scenes where they interact with each other.
Yeah, I mean, they were listed out so kind of grouped the way how I set it up. At least for the first one, it's Once Upon a Forgotten Time, and then Three Little Pigs, and Red Riding Hood and The Huntsman. They're all in that same group. So I was like, oh, it's easy. I can just group that together. And I was originally gonna do verses, and so all the characters were all real juiced up, and I was like, I can't do that. We gotta draw it back a little bit.
I know. I'm still floored, and it was so clever, and they're gorgeous. They're gorgeous, yeah. Brad.
Literally, when I saw your combinations, my jaw dropped because that. Yeah. Never even crossed my mind to combine the prompts into one illustration. I was so set on doing each day its own drawing, and this is amazing. I love it.
Yeah, thank you.
And I think someone had asked me early on, well, what do you mean you're all doing the same thing? And I told them, trust me, none of us are going to interpret that the same way. And you can clearly see that, but that's a non-artist.
Yeah, that always
I think it was maybe my mom.
No, but I mean, I get that from a lot of people too, that they just don't think about it, but it's we all were given the same parameters. We were all given the same amount of time. We were all given instructions of interpret it as you want. And as artists, our minds just all naturally go in such different directions. And it's so fun coming from a creative standpoint to see everyone's interpretations and think, wow, I never thought of that. And that's an area of growth. That's where you learn. So it's so much fun to be able to collaborate with everybody on the same topic to see what everyone comes up with.
Yeah, and even with a daily prompt, I mean, I'm well, we have a theme on all of our shows. Nothing we do is the same. And I'm it's not going to be the same on this one either. But Brad, you broke the mold, and it's it's really fabulous, and I love the feel of these, and I love the pigs especially.
Thank you. Yeah, the
And
pigs
like the old geezers, like.
Yeah.
I
found like a still life reference of like some taxidermy like pigs, and it was like I was like, this is it. And like I knew I had to do it.
You know, it's just funny, like the things I think that artists have to like Google search, you know, it's like I hope the FBI agent that watches me knows I'm cool. I'm not doing this on purpose. I'm doing this for an art reason. Taxidermy pigs, you know, Google search, gotta, you know.
You're always checking out. Making sure no one's like.
And Nat, I think you touched on this too. Like we were talking about, it's so hard to do an expression. It's so hard to do anatomy, and to see Brad's approach to it. It took me back to college, right? Where like figure drawing, and I'm like, oh yeah, that's how you do it. But like, really. Just cool to see that again and like see how somebody else makes that happen. Because Brad, your figures they're great.
Thank you. Yeah. I mean, I had to watch like a ton of YouTube videos the past like couple weeks, and a lot of the body proportions weren't perfect at first. So I appreciate that.
Yeah, I mean, it's proportions and it's so hard.
Yeah, definitely. Not for everyone. I feel like you and Megan both did things that I was like, what? Like that is not something that my mind would produce. So it's just really cool to see. Super inspiring. And I can totally see these in like either as like really vintage looking postcards, or in an art book or something. If you made it look like a photo book, it's cool, the styling of it. It like opens up a lot of fun ideas that I haven't really seen before, especially for a fairy tale theme. It's pretty cool.
Yeah. I wanted to change up the fairy tale a little bit, just kind of make the characters a little older, so I didn't want to like rely too much on like the already like pre-made references that they had. So I'm glad you liked it.
Yes. Awesome. Well, cool. Thank you, Brad. If
OUD
Flyers.
Flyers.
Only a few people probably.
Oh, chirp all the way.
I know, we've got a couple here.
Gotta represent Ball State.
Oh, I'm like not one of those people. So sorry, I have nothing to say. Am I supposed to say what college I went to? If we're talking about Brad. So if you guys want to check out any more of Brad's work, you can find him on Instagram at Deberry_draws. And of course, we will have that in the link below, or in the description below. Actually, I think it's already there if you are interested in checking it out. So yeah, thank you, Brad. Amazing work.
Thank you.
Next up, we have Sarah, actually. All you, Sarah.
All right. Hi, everybody. My name is Sarah DeMars. I'm originally from Northwest Indiana, but right now I'm currently living in Chicago. If I had to answer the question about my favorite fairy tale, I think my heart instantly goes to Cinderella, just because I love that she's able to kind of attack all her problems with kindness in the end, and she still kind of gets her way. But if I had to relate to one, I feel like Hansel and Gretel is a good option, not in the sense that you're murdering an old witch, but in the sense you're able to eat your weight's worth in candy and cookies. I think that's always a fun way to go. For this challenge, I definitely, when Reneé first approached us with this idea, Inktober has always been something that's been very daunting to me, because I've tried before in the past, I think ever since college. And either if it was like traditional media or like working with digitally with like Procreate or like with Photoshop, I always just kind of like gave up. Either like I was really busy with college, or life just sort of gets in the way. And Brad said earlier, sometimes drawing every day, it's kind of a hard thing to do, even if you are a professional and you love it so much. But when this was presented to me, I was like, all right, this time I'm doing it. And so I wanted to tackle this in a very traditional sense. I love illustration. I love kids' books. So I was like, I'm going to illustrate a little 6x6 square on watercolor paper with a traditional quill and nib, which I showed earlier in the video. And so I taped up the sides, and I kind of went at it with some ink and some watercolor, and I just kind of saw what happened. So most of these, like I said, I love children's book illustration. I like to take things pretty literally. Megan earlier in the video with her photography, I feel like I just kind of just draw what I would see if I were to open up a kid's book about that subject. And so I did love working with metallics as well, and different inks and stuff. And it really was a challenge, just because you have to think about what the founding fathers were using to write the Declaration of Independence. That's what it felt like to work with these quills and these nibs, and to find your favorite nib. And I did have a lucky nib at the very end, just because I found one that suited my needs the best. But it was pretty hard, just because you're kind of dragging a little metal thing across paper and hoping it looks okay, because I'm used to drawing digitally, I would have to say. I definitely am very much drawn to fantasy. Ever since I was a little girl, I've loved fairy tales and books, and illustrating books and stuff. And that's just sort of how my brain works. And I feel like if I were to have a dream profession, that would be it. And so this is kind of what stemmed from it. It was a lot of fun. I had a lot of fun doing this, and it's definitely a major accomplishment for me to say that I've done Inktober, to be able to do these 31 drawings and to now have them in front of me. It's a pretty thick little pile, and it's a good feeling.
It is. You should feel proud of yourself, for sure. I feel like it's so hard to do something like this when you haven't before, especially.
Mm-hmm.
And you did them all by hand.
Yeah, I did do them
Unlike
all by
any
hand.
of the rest of us. Oh, well, Meg did it by hand too. But the inks, the metallic inks, I feel like
Mhm.
I've told you that I feel like it's so suiting to your work, because you use them in a unique way, and it's not like the typical metallic that you see on things when it's kind of
Yeah, sometimes metallics can be really overpowering, especially if it's just too much. But I do love to put too much metallic on stuff. I love when things sparkle. I think that's a lot of fun.
wrong with that. It's your style.
It definitely is. I love that. I think metallics kind of have a sense that you can't really appreciate it unless you see it in person. And that's why I tried to make each one of them move, so you can see kind of the dimensions of each piece. Just because, as much as I would love to do that digitally, I can't. I could import an image into Photoshop that's metallic, but you're not going to get the same fun sense that you would if it was a book, or if it was a piece in a gallery and you got to see it and move it and see how it was in a light. But I definitely did have a lot of fun with these. If I had to pick a favorite, though, I did love the fairy one. This one's fun too. I love the genie one. I don't know, it's hard to pick a favorite.
Sarah, will your wedding dress have some shimmer?
Ironically, I love plain dresses. Plain wedding dresses?
No.
Oh, Natalie's heart just broke. I'm so sorry.
What? I thought it was going to be flower, lots of little detail, ball gown, fairy. What?
Oh, no, Natalie. I'm so sorry, girl. I like the plain ones.
You broke my mind.
I'm sorry. Okay, so
I mean, I will support your decisions, but what?
This is our first show she's engaged, right?
Yes.
Pretty much, yeah. So, yeah, I'm figuring it out. It's a lot.
You
This
could
is
do a
more
little
challenging than
shimmer.
Inktober. This is more challenging than Inktober, but
You could do a little shimmer.
a little shimmer.
You gotta have a shimmer.
Maybe for my veil.
There you go.
Natalie's gonna kill me later. Anyway,
I'm just broken. I'm like, I would not have expected that.
I'll call you later. I'm sorry.
Okay.
but yeah, no, I had so much fun with like the shininess and like the sparkles, and I love a good white ink too. White ink is fun, especially with my white rabbit piece, being able to put the white on top of metallic. I wasn't expecting that, and that was a lot of fun.
Yeah, I think we were saying like the white rabbit. God, that was such a strong piece.
Yeah.
How that
Thank
turned
you.
out.
And
Yours
I
like a
was-
picture. I love it.
I wasn't expecting that one either, because I'm not a big Alice in Wonderland fan. I feel like people are either like extremely into Alice in Wonderland or you're not. And that those few actually took me by surprise. I'm like, those were a lot of fun to draw.
As soon as like we got the prompt, like Renee's like trying to decide like what we're doing for Inktober, and then she sends out fairy tales and fables, I was like, oh, this is Sarah. This is all Sarah all day, every day.
Yeah.
I cannot wait to see her stuff. Like anytime I see your work, it's like instantly I'm drawn into like a fairy tale land.
Yes.
And you like
I love it.
knocked it out of the park. So I
Thank
need to
you.
know, where do I buy these? How many can I buy? Can they all be mine? Like, no, but seriously, they are stunning, Sarah. Like,
Natalie, you can hit up
absolutely.
my DMs if you really want to.
They
yeah,
are. They're beautiful.
Yeah.
They are. It's fair. So I have them right here in front of me, and they are, like I said, a pretty thick little pile. And it would be fun for them to be a book, but I do kind of see these guys going home to like a happy home if they are so wanted. But no, they're a lot of fun, and I put a lot of love in music and TV shows into these guys, so I feel like they can go to a happy home if someone wants them.
No, they're gorgeous.
Yeah,
Like I told you when I first saw them, I'm like, these are just stunning and beautiful.
My only thing that I wish I could fix, and if anybody has any tips, I could not find a tape that worked well. Like the tape would like kind of like not be clear enough, and that bothers the heck out of me. But
Oh, this totally doesn't bother me at all. Especially, so for the pieces I noticed, and I think Megan even called this out yesterday, so I'm going to repeat her question. There were a few that you decided to break your borders. How did you know when that was supposed to take place, and was it intentional? Was it an accident? Like the fire breathing dragon one, you had the fire coming
the
out.
dragon one was the first one that I broke the borders with, and I think just the way that I sketched it out and I started inking, I'm like, this is not going to do justice to the fire that I really want to illustrate, because I have all this fun gold ink and I want to like make it shimmer like a fire kind of like moves. So I had to branch out into that white border that I created after I took the tape off, in order to just sort of give the fire all the boom, all the wow that I wanted to put into it. I know there were a few others that I could have broken the border with, but I felt like within that space, it kind of completed the story. So I felt like when that little square wasn't big enough for what I wanted to do, then I started to branch out. And I feel like I only did it for a few. I think there was maybe like one or two or three. I'm going through them right now, but another one that I did it on was the tea party one, where I wanted like this smoke from the tea kettles to kind of like go out. So it's just like, it just adds a little bit when I feel like the space that I gave myself wasn't enough.
I like it. I actually like when it breaks out. I feel like it's kind of nice. Adds another layer to it. They also they remind me a little bit of like woodblock prints, with like the layering of especially because you limited your color palette. I feel like you got all of those nice, really interesting textures and qualities in it.
That's always one art way of making art that I've never done before, and I've always wanted to, and I kind of kicked myself for not doing it back in school. But I felt that a lot with the rabbit one, for sure. I was like, oh, it just has like, and wood prints, they have such a gorgeous texture to them, and being able to build a few watercolors and inks kind of helped me mimic that a little bit, I think.
The one that I thought was genius to me was Alice. Like, you had your format, but she is like rammed into that cube, and I adored that. I
did love Alice. Like I said,
I love that too.
Yeah, I shocked myself with how much I loved the Alice in Wonderland. It was very fun to just like kind of like sketch her all squished in there, and you just sort of like feel how she feels a little bit.
Yeah, you do feel that.
Yeah. And one thing I did really appreciate about working with like the ink is like you could play with line quality and line width, I guess, a lot more than I thought I would. I love a good line width in a piece of work. It's one of my favorite things.
Do you think you would do ink drawing again? Like at this?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah?
Oh, yeah. I feel like, you go through high school, you go through college, whatever, and you kind of like teach yourself what you like to do when you're not forced to do a certain type of drawing. And I feel like multimedia was kind of like one of my safe spaces, even though it's kind of chaotic just to hear say, oh, multimedia is my favorite thing. But I'm a very messy artist. Like I have a big desk out and I have all these like materials. And if I can combine all of them into like my sketchbook, into a piece, it kind of lets me play with what I think a bunch of people might not, just, it's fun. And I don't give myself many limitations when I have all my materials available to me.
I love them. You're getting lots of great comments in the chat too.
I'm guilty of not looking at the chat.
Tracy says,
thank you, everyone.
I really love the one with the boat and the teeth in the middle.
Oh, yes. That one was actually very, very hard for me because that was the hunger monster. And I was like, what is a hunger monster? What is it? And that was the last ones I did. And I was a big Percy Jackson kid. I love mythology. And so I was like, oh, there's this myth about this monster at the bottom of an ocean who like just devours these ships and these sailors. And if it's anywhere, like she'll kind of devour it. And I think her name is Charybdis. And so that's what I ended up doing. And I was like, oh, that's perfect because she just eats everything and she's a monster. But it was kind of funny because I don't know if anybody else kind of relates to this, but procrastination and like working with deadlines is a really good motivator to get something done. I feel like a lot of my best ideas kind of come at me when there's a deadline staring me right in the face.
Diamonds are made out of pressure.
That is true.
I learned that one in college.
Yeah, I think it's like a trait. I think it has to be a trait of most creatives, at least.
No, but I had a lot of fun with this prompt. Just being able to do it was just such a good blessing. And honestly, when I finished my last one, when I finished 31, I was like, oh, now what do I do? I gotta do something else. And the other day we were talking about how we want to take a break for the holidays, and I was like, can't relate, guys. Sorry, I need something else to do now.
Now you got the itch.
I do. I got it. I got that bug.
I actually could watch this video on replay for a long time. It's like very consumable, the way that you showcase these.
I know, and I catch a new one that I like even more every time I rewatch it, and I'm like, gosh darn it, like which one's my favorite? I don't know.
I should have like showed them all at the end, but I just didn't really kind of think about it just because like they're live things, and I was like, oh, then I gotta photograph it and then put it all together. But
no, this shows.
I wanted to show the sparkle.
Exactly. I agree with that. So nice. That is my favorite, I think. And a Rapunzel. And the crystal ball.
Yes. I did love Rapunzel.
And they're all That's gorgeous.
Yeah. And
For
this one,
using what you used, I'm like, oh my
Yeah.
God.
Which one? Sorry.
That's all of them. Like the
Oh.
hardest thing is like we were saying, like you can't delete it when we're used to hitting like Command Z, and you're like, I can't.
No.
So
not
hard.
an option.
Honestly, I didn't start sketching either until about halfway through, until I got really frustrated and gave up. I was like, I gotta start sketching this out, because I would just go at it ham. Like the genie one, I just kind of was like, I'll just see what happens when I start drawing. But the rest, after a while, I was like, I gotta start sketching, or else I'm gonna be wasting paper.
Yeah, I mean, it's hard. Like, I literally last year, the first like Inktober for the food, I was doing ink only, and I was like, oh my God, that's the hardest thing I could ever have thought in my life, because there was no getting rid of it. So when we did this show, I was like, sorry, pencil has to happen.
No, and there were a few nibs that betrayed me halfway through. Like, I know on the Peter Pan one, I dripped one, and I was like, all right, well, nothing I can do. But then I found my favorite nib, and things got better. But I did have a lot of them, so I had to, like, I went through like every single those little metal nibs to find my favorite, or at least my most trustworthy one.
See, I love
They are
that,
fickle.
though. That's so nice, because you would never have gone through all of them so quickly if you didn't do something like this.
Yeah, I remember, like, because I really love the Peter Pan one too, and I was like, the little Neverland scene, and I was so happy, and then it splashed. I was like, all right, I'm just gonna see what happens, and I'll get over it. But
I love that one too, though.
I did love the clouds, especially. I love doing clouds with like little swirly lines. But no, these were very fun too.
Lisa asked, does everyone set aside a specific time of day to deep dive into Cheetober?
Me, I'm a night owl, so that's usually when I like to do it best. I don't like to get up at like 7 a.m. and draw. I like to do it when it's dark out.
Yeah, I would agree. I like to do it at night as well. Or like at least later in the day. I can't get into art in the morning. My mind's just not awake for it.
And you're working.
I feel like I agree with you guys for the most part, but then there are times when, like, if I can get myself in the habit of waking up early, it's usually like my most productive time and my most creative time. So I feel like it works well, but I think you have to kind of plan for it. Whereas nighttime, you don't have to plan. You just do it when you're done with other things.
You're really lucky though. Yeah.
I feel like too, my ideas like build throughout the day because I can't stop thinking about it. Or once I get an idea, like I just have the itch. So then when it comes to nighttime, I'm just excited to like jump into my work. Where in the morning, the idea is not fully developed, where I'm still like just trying to decide how I want to do it. And then by the evening, I know what I want.
See, I usually sleep on it because I can't decide. I can't decide until that's like most of my life. I can't decide on things until I sleep on it. So that makes sense why maybe I'm a little weird.
Not weird. Everyone has their own thing.
I just can't get up in the morning. So
I'm the same way. I'm a late afternoon.
Yeah. Like, even in college, I'm like, I could work all night in the lab and the studio, but like, I've just never been a morning person. I wish I was.
I'm an environment artist too. I feel like if I set myself up in the right place, I can probably create whatever, but I don't know. It's kind of like nesting, I think, where I'm like, oh, I'll put on some music, I'll surround myself with my stuff, and then I'll just go at it. But there are people who, like, there are artists out there who have like perfectly immaculate desks and they only need a few things, and I could never do it. I'm very much a nester. I need my stuff around me.
Is your tabletop here where you're showing these where you normally work?
So I have my computer desk, and that's where I do my digital work, and that's messy. But I did this all at my dining room table, much to the chagrin of my fiance, because I set up for like weeks and weeks. But just because there's more space, and I would, migrate all my stuff over there, because I have these mugs of colored pencils and pens, and it's like once I'm a little like comfortable in my environment, then I'll start really getting down to business.
I feel like that is very important. Okay, well, just so I don't keep looking at this because it is so mesmerizing, I will switch. I think I am the last one. So I'll play mine, and then we can chat if we have any other questions at the end. So I am Reneé again. My artist name is Chii, and Chii is it kind of represents energy and life force, and it's this little character that you see in all of these, the consistent shape. Where am I from? I'm from Chicago. My favorite fairy tale, I almost forgot about these questions. I think I like so many of them. I do really like Alice in Wonderland, but I think it may be because of the rabbit. And I also really like Beauty and the Beast. And I really like Maleficent. So I think my favorite fantasy character would be something that has magic, probably, because I really like that aspect of fantasy. And then as far as my work, I took on this limitation of this shape, which was really interesting for me. It was kind of like I was back and forth on how much of it I was going to change. I initially was like going to take only the eyes, like I did on this one, and kind of customize them to match what the character was or what the prompt was. And then, of course, I just wanted to include other things, so a lot of them I did kind of venture out into the rest of the form. It was very interesting to try and give myself this, I guess, limitation, because it's something that I haven't done a lot, not this limiting, but I had a lot of fun. I definitely procrastinated a lot. I kind of worked on them more overall, trying to figure out the concept more than I did getting into the individual ones. And then when I had that concept down and I felt like I had a good number of them that were working and that felt cohesive and that I felt like I knew what to do that made them fit together, then I kind of branched into the rest of them, and that was faster for me. But yeah, that's my work.
These were all super creative for the limitations that you gave yourself. I mean, playing with the eyes and then having some not be just the face was really creative.
Thanks.
I love these, Reneé. When we went over them a little bit yesterday, I was just sort of I can't pick one that I love the most. They're just so cool, and they sort of embodied I know that the Chii is sort of a personal feeling and meaning to you, and I feel like each one kind of has the energy of each fairy tale as well. And I think that's really cool and very special and pretty hard to do.
Thanks. Yeah, I feel like it's really interesting taking that theme and kind of trying to see how far you can push it. If you have a personal theme that you always work into your stuff. I mean, Sarah, for yours, I don't know if you have like intentionally one specifically, but I always feel like it's this like whimsical fantasy, and it's there every single time I see your work. But I really love that, and I like the idea that you can do different things with your like signature, and this is something that kind of pushed me out of that box. So it's really fun, and I've never done a whole Inktober before either, so that was a nice challenge to overcome.
Oh, us. Do you have a favorite one?
I think it's really hard. I really love the last one, which was Hollow Ever After. I also really love the one that's next to it, the Pixie Dust.
I love that one too. I love them all.
The bunny one, the white rabbit. I love him too. It's like a borderline like cute and a borderline sort of like intense bunny. What's the rabbit from that movie that kills people?
Oh my gosh, I don't know.
Monty Python and the Holy Grail. Kind of a.
Oh yeah, the Holy Monty Python Holy Grail, the killer rabbit. Oh
no,
yeah.
No, not in the sense that it's scary, but you know, it's cool.
It's fun.
And True Love's Kiss, I love that one too. Just because because I think of like rose-colored glasses. I wasn't sure if that was something you did intentionally, because you look at your loved one through rose-colored glasses, and I was like, oh, the eyes are kind of a rosy color. I wonder if she did that on purpose.
You caught that. Very nice. Yeah, definitely enjoyed these. I would say that there were some that were harder too. The first one for sure. What do you call it? Once Upon a Time Forgotten was difficult, and I like in the beginning, that was the first one I did, and it was like so detailed, and I was like, I thought I said I was just going to do the eyes. What happened? And then I was like, I really have to reconsider what I'm doing here, because I don't want to just do the eyes. So I kind of had to work from there. But yeah, that one was difficult. Sword in the Stone was difficult for me, because I really just wanted to make a stone at first. Shadow Realm was difficult. And Fairy, I think, was pretty difficult too.
Shadow Realm was one of my favorites, though. I like that one a lot. The one with the eyes, that's really cool.
So, Reneé, I don't know if I've actually ever asked you this, but how did you come up with the shape for Chii? Like, when did that happen?
I think it's been a while. I've used it since more than 5 years ago. It's been a while. I was kind of just exploring and trying to figure out what did my art mean to me, and like what was important to me. And you guys know I like to get in on like I spend way too much time kind of trying to figure out like the meaning of it, and like really kind of drawing out something that's meaningful, at least to me, because that's important to me. So I think it was quite a while back, and I was kind of just doing some soul searching, and this was a shape that really meant a lot to me in terms of like energy, and energy in general like means, you know, it's your life force, it's what you're thriving on, and I feel like that's very important, especially for a creative person. So it's something that I want to remind myself of all the time too. So having that shape as kind of like an icon in my life is really, really helpful for me personally.
And the fact that you show it off, something that's so personal that you're just so willing to put out there and just show to everyone, is pretty brave. Just because I feel like maybe we all have our comfort drawings or comfort like ideas or, you know, characters in our head, and you just sort of you show it out there and you kind of give it to everyone. And I could probably pick my favorite one out of all these, and I could associate myself with it a little bit, but it's still yours.
Thanks, Sarah. Yeah, I feel like I mean, we were talking about this, but every artist has some level of that, right? Like putting themselves out there, and it's a little scary, it's a little intimidating, and even if it doesn't feel like or seem like a lot to like the viewers, it's like we're putting everything out there. Yeah. And I think that's kind of always the case when it's good art. I feel like you can see it and you can feel it, and there's something there that's unseen, and that, like, I love that part about I really love that part about art, because it is a visual, but there's something that you can't see there too. You just feel
it's
it.
there. I think you said, like, showing any of this is like someone reading your diary. Like,
Yep.
even like someone being like, can I go through your sketchbook or your
It's so personal.
journals? And you're like, it is very it's like disarming. It's like, yeah.
It's like if someone could read your mind or something, and you're like, I don't know if I want you to do that.
You put your heart out on like everything that you create, and so it's just so sentimental and intimate and personal that it's really letting someone in to see what goes on in your mind.
And everybody wants a piece of it, based on the comments. Everyone wants some stickers, tattoos, emojis. People want to share it, and it's just
emojis too.
That's cool.
Nice. Yeah, I think possibly stickers or pins are coming. Maybe necklaces. We'll see, you guys. I don't have anything just yet, but I'm thinking about it. All right, guys. We'll go out of this back to our main screen. Thank you everyone who's here and watching. You guys are awesome. We love your support and your questions and all of your comments. So thank you for watching our show. I'm sorry, Megan, that your face is not on here, but you guys saw Megan earlier too, and just this group has been awesome, as it always is. I feel like I really enjoy doing this with all of you, and it's different than just doing a project by myself. So thank you guys. I want to ask you guys, after like this accomplishment of doing something so big, and actually it's not just a regular Inktober, right? Like, I feel like everyone kind of went above and beyond and did something more. Like, you guys did showpieces. These aren't just like little sketches. So how do you feel about that? And is that something that makes you want to do like collection work more, or sort of a series more than you have in the past?
I think definitely. When you're kind of working with like a big group of prompts and stuff like that, it's kind of easy to kind of keep your mind going and kind of pushing through with ideas. And even like after like I was done, I was like, all right, I still have more ideas to I kind of want to push and see if what I could do with the content that's out there. So I think just working like in the future, I think it's easier to kind of start an idea, just kind of having the kind of future plan of like, I can kind of keep rolling with it and not just like stopping at one point. You got like kind of a full, long-term kind of goal that you're trying to achieve. And I think it seems it gets a little brighter each day as you kind of get through it.
I feel like it gives you more confidence too. As an artist, we always need more confidence. So I feel like, just having that under your belt, having something where you've actually shown to yourself you can do like this scale and this amount and this quality of work is really cool.
And to be able to tie them all together, it's to make one piece that you're really, really proud of, but then to be able to make 30 more and be able to incorporate the same sort of feeling in each one, so it feels comprehensive as a collection. It's a lot of work, and when you're done, you do feel accomplished, and you feel like you're like, oh wow, I just did a lot of work.
Yeah.
Even though you might not think it is at the time, but it is. And it does feel very good.
And
It's
at the
just
end
so
of the
awesome
year.
to have that physical piece with you. Like, oh, sorry, Reneé, but it's so awesome to have the physical collection. Like, you just see all of the pieces that you've touched, and it's just one of the most gratifying feeling in the world.
I agree.
Totally. Yeah, I was saying just at the end of the year too. It's like it's a nice thing to do at the end of the year. Maybe someone who thought of Inktober was thinking about that part of it too. Meg, how was it for you? You did 10 pieces in 1 month.
Yeah, I didn't think I was going to, but I want to do a few more for sure. I felt like I could see them all, but then I got into my groove and the detail I wanted, so.
I feel like if that's the thing that's important to you though, right? Like
Yeah.
Brad's he was like all about the detail and got these like 3 amazing pieces done and they looked awesome. So I think it's really all about like what you want to focus on, and I feel like that's more what this kind of challenge is about too.
Yeah, and I think like when I did one last year, I was like, oh no, it's literally like quick sketch, ink, it is what it is. But this one, I don't know if it was like more parameters around it or once I had like my subject picked out and I'm like, I couldn't visualize mine just being like a one color thing. So once I did the first one, I was like, nope, it's gonna be a while, you know, to like get that vision.
Yeah. Yeah, mine was the same.
But I know, but I like adore them and I wanna finish them.
I mean, and that's the thing, right? Like you can always add more to it. I'm gonna be doing more of my cheese for sure. Oh, if anyone in the audience has questions too, I keep forgetting to ask you guys because it's hard to see my comments here. But if you have any questions, let us know. We are taking any Q&A at this point before we wrap up. I had another question for you guys. Oh, did this inspire you to try maybe some new techniques or new materials or anything different that you haven't done before?
Yep.
I would say this challenge made me work like faster than what I'm used to. Like I like very refined drawings. Like if you saw, was it last show or a couple shows ago, my Critter Mingle series, like I like very detailed drawings, and that is just where I like naturally go to. So forcing myself to draw quickly and like have to move through these sketches to make sure I can do enough to hit all the days, because that was my goal, was to like get enough. That pushed me outside my comfort zone, but I was really happy with my end result with all of them. They still turned out cute, even though they weren't as refined as I was like would have done it, but that would have taken me way, way, way longer to achieve.
One thing that I really want to incorporate is I love the feel that watercolor and ink sort of give to a piece of paper. So I was gonna actually try to incorporate like taking photographs of like some watercolor, like with alcohol or like sponge, and sort of like photographing those and then incorporate them into my digital work, just so that I can kind of combine the best of both worlds, because there are so many digital pens and paintbrushes and tools that I love to use, but it still doesn't have the same feel as being on paper would. And so being able to combine those two, I think would be really cool in an upcoming project as well. Just being able to confuse the audience, like, oh, how did she do this? Can I tell? I always love it when an artist can do that, when I can't really tell how they did it. It's just kind of like a mystery.
I love that. That's so you. I could totally see it in your digital work. That's awesome.
I liked working with, but I don't know how to. I feel like I tried to do like the watercolor type this time, but I don't really know what I'm doing. So I was like,
no, it feels like a watercolor. It feels very smooth and like,
Yeah.
there's like a pull to like your colors and stuff. Do you ever use like colored pencils that can like turn into watercolor at all, Meg?
that's what I did these with because they were tiny. Yeah.
See, you could tell they're just so cool. So you're already there doing it, and
I just feel like I don't really know how to truly manipulate it, but I wanted to try. So
to be fair, watercolor is extremely like fickle and kind of a brat when you play with it, I think.
Yeah,
that's kind of where the fun stuff comes out. No, but it was such a good job.
It was fun.
It is fun, yeah.
I would just like to kind of learn it more.
Mm-hmm. I know Natalie's
not like with the pencil, you know. But
Natalie's gonna pop in with some pro oil paint.
You should come onto the oil side. Watercolor.
I know you.
It has its uses, but does it have its uses in Natalie's world? No, it does not. We use oil.
I want to try oil. I really do want to try oil. I feel like I don't have I have a lot of materials that I like don't get to use enough, so it's really difficult at this point to like add in something new. I don't know if I can incorporate it with resin as well as I can with like acrylics because of the dry time. And like acrylics I can kind of, it doesn't have to dry as long, and it creates bubbles if it's not dry enough. So I think that might be my hold up, but I want to try, especially after Lisa's last, her amazing oils from that our monster one. They were so fun.
She'll have to give us some tips because I don't even remember where to start with oil anymore. I know you gotta buy some stuff.
Natalie's like the oil
queen.
The oil queen.
I feel like probably my next project's going to be oil, depending on the topic, because I haven't done one yet, and it really like surprises me that I haven't done that yet. That'll probably be the next.
What I want to do next is ceramics, actually, because I miss it so much from college.
You've done it?
Oh, you know what? I can't show anything like in this video, but I have some stuff I'll send you guys later. But
the house, show them the house.
I'll send you pictures, you guys, later. Oh my gosh, I love ceramics, and I didn't know I did until I took it last semester of college, and I was like, should I flunk some classes so I get another few semesters with some ceramics under my belt? But there's some classes nearby. I think I want to get like a little studio going and do some more ceramics because I really miss it.
Oh, I like want to go with you.
You want to come with?
So fun.
Please. Oh, I miss it so much.
There we go. We do workshops. I want to learn ceramic too, but ceramics does not love me.
I know, you just gotta try again.
I try so hard to make like ceramic stuff, and like it just doesn't like me. The things break, they fall apart, they crack in the kiln, the glaze doesn't work.
That's just being unlucky. You're just being it's just a little.
It happens every project. I don't know why.
No.
One of those
when was the last time you did ceramics, though, Natalie? Be honest. Was it middle school?
No, it was college, Sarah. And I did one of those pottery things, I think, at someone's bridesmaid party that I painted. So that one doesn't count, but I did do stuff in college and it just still didn't work.
No. We're going to do it again. We're going to do it again. We're going to Chii for all ceramics party.
Skill that I just like admire so much. Like I'm that person at the art fairs that like when everyone sets up their booths and they're selling all their stuff, I hunt out the ceramic people because I can't do it. So I admire their art, and then I just have tons of stuff around my house. I have pots, I have bowls, I have teapots because I just love ceramics, but I just can't do it.
At our university in the fall, there was it wasn't like a holiday, but there was a day where all the ceramic students would make bowls, and you could go to like the main cafeteria on the campus and fill it with chili for your meal swipe. Yep. And so you got to keep a gorgeous ceramic bowl, and you got to eat your lunch.
So nice.
And I still have those. If only young Sarah had known how much she would love ceramics, she would have like changed her career path. But you know, it was a while ago. Can't go back. But it's just I miss it a lot. It was very fun.
Jimena, I love your comments. I agree. Ceramic class for all of us. We should go together.
Yes, so down. It'd be so fun.
Who didn't go? Brad, do you have anything new you're gonna try out after this, or is it more like building?
I'm thinking of doing some animation within the scenes, just maybe some like small movements to start, and then kind of get a little further from there. But I've been doing a lot more with perspective work for like this project at least, so kind of looking forward to pushing that in the future.
Nice. Yeah, it was different. I feel like I haven't seen anyone do like that kind of background work in a really long time. That was what I loved doing in college, and the background work and the character art. So it's really fun to see. Again, makes me want to go back and draw some humans for once. Cool. Do you guys have any questions? Anyone else in the chat as we are here?
Reneé, I legit pulled out like canvases the other night because I was like, I need to do figures again. I've said at the end of every freaking show we had, and I'm like, no, it's time. I love it. I miss it.
We'll have a Chii ceramic class and a Chii figure drawing class.
Yeah.
We start a Chii school. Everyone's invited.
Yes.
And we'll all get really big raises.
Natalie will teach us all oil painting.
Yes.
At least me.
Skill shares. Next show, skill shares. Everyone pick their most used skill and share it.
Yes.
That would be an interesting take for our next show.
Yeah,
Everyone pick something.
We have, actually, we've done it we didn't really do it fully for a workshop, but I feel like that'd make a good show. I hadn't thought about that. Good idea.
Ooh.
Word vomit. You're welcome.
Bye, Meg.
Okay. I think everyone's done. I think we got all of our questions out. So thank you guys again. Thank you everyone for watching. We enjoyed showing this work. I think we worked really hard on this to get it done quickly. And it was quite a bit different, but really enjoyable as always when you are working with friends. So thank you. Oh, Tom agrees with the workshops. Yes.
Yes.
Down. We're all down. Tom, you got a lot of stuff to teach us. I think you'll be teaching a few of those.
Yeah.
The 3D.
Tom will be the dean of our Chii school. He just knows everything.
We'll nominate him for president.
Yes. Oh my gosh. That's perfect. All right, cool. Thank you, everyone.
Thank
Amazing
you.
work,
Thank you.
all of you guys. And we will see you next time. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.